The Formula One world has once again been rocked by a controversial statement from one of the sport's great legends. Damon Hill, the 1996 F1 world champion, suddenly made a sharp and surprising comment aimed directly at Lewis Hamilton. The statement immediately caused an uproar among F1 fans and observers. Not only that, but Sebastian Vettel, Hamilton's old colleague and rival, also spoke out in response to the surprising statement. What exactly was Damon Hill's surprising statement? Let's discuss it. Lewis Hamilton's journey with Ferrari has only just begun. However, only 6 races into the 2025 season, a serious warning has come from one of Formula One's legends, Damon Hill. According to the 1996 world champion, the old habits that Hamilton brought with him from Mercedes have begun to prove to be a serious stumbling block in his new team, Ferrari. One moment that illustrates this warning came during qualifying for the Miami Grand Prix. Under the sunny Florida skies and the immense pressure of the tifosi who expected a lot, Hamilton actually experienced one of the most disappointing qualifying sessions of his career. For the first time since donning the red Ferrari jersey, he failed to qualify for Q3. Worse still, he made the same mistake twice, locking up his tires at turn 17, suggesting that the problem was not just technical, but also a matter of adjusting his driving style. Damon Hill, now an F1 commentator for BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra, was quick to point out the cause of the failure. That's one of his main problems. He's still driving like he's driving a Mercedes, said Hill. The brakes are different in the Ferrari. And Lewis seems to be struggling to shake off the habits he's had for over a decade. Hill was referring to the fundamental differences between Mercedes' carbon industry braking system and Ferrari's Brembo brakes. The two have very different characteristics, from braking points, to pedal feel, to optimum operating temperatures. Even a top driver like Hamilton needs time and patience to adapt. When you've been using one type of brake for 12 years, your body and muscles remember it like a natural reflex. But at Ferrari, Lewis has had to start from scratch. It's like trying to write with your left hand when you've used your right hand all your life, added Hill with a pointed analogy. Hamilton himself has made no secret of how difficult the transition has been. Speaking to the media after the Bahrain Grand Prix, he described the feeling behind the wheel of the SF25 with one word, alien. Sometimes I think we drivers can be too rigid with our driving. I'm used to the car adapting to me. But with Ferrari, I have to adapt to the car. And that's been a real challenge, said Hamilton. He then went on to explain in technical terms just how different the braking philosophies are between Mercedes and Ferrari. I haven't used engine braking for 12 years. Here we rely on it a lot. In some corners, I even had to use the rear brake to turn the car, something I've hardly ever done before. It's like learning the art of racing from scratch, added Hamilton. In Q1, Hamilton made a big mistake, locking up in turn 17. This forced him to change to new soft tires earlier than planned. With fresh tires, he was able to set a time that was good enough to qualify. Hill called this quick reaction the hallmark of a champion. But the real problem came in Q2. Just when all the cars were in optimal condition and the track was starting to provide the best grip, the same mistake happened again. Again at turn 17, Hamilton locked up his front tires and lost momentum. The result? He was eliminated from Q2, while his teammate Charles Leclerc easily made it through to Q3. This incident confirmed that what Hamilton was facing was not a momentary or technical problem, but rather the legacy of a racing style that did not fit the DNA of Ferrari cars. Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari was indeed one of the most monumental moments in modern Formula One history. But like all great leaps forward in racing, this transition came with challenges that could not be underestimated. Adapting to a new environment, a different way of working with a team, and the high expectations of millions of tifosi around the world were all burdens that the 7-time world champion had to bear. However, amidst the skepticism and criticism that continues to be voiced from various quarters, not everyone chooses to focus on the negative. There are those who see the potential and have full confidence in Hamilton's abilities. One of them is Sebastian Vettel, a former fierce rival on the track and a figure who knows Ferrari from the inside. Vettel, who will drive for Scuderia Ferrari from 2015 to 2020, knows only too well how unique and complex the internal dynamics of the Maranello team are. For Vettel, Ferrari is not just a racing team, but an institution with a long history, high expectations, and enormous emotional pressure. Ferrari is a world of its own, Vettel said in an interview with Austrian media outlet Kronen Zeitung. I was in that position. They work with all their heart, with a passion that is hard to explain. I am sure they are doing everything they can to welcome Lewis and make his transition as easy as possible. But it's not just about the car, it's not just about data and technology, it's about immersing yourself in a culture and a philosophy that is very different from Mercedes. Vettel's words are not mere platitudes or empty diplomacy. He speaks from experience and empathy. He knows how difficult it is to adapt at Ferrari, where the pressure of the Italian media can turn into a storm that shatters a driver's mental stability, and where winning is not only celebrated but demanded. But despite the difficulties, Vettel remains optimistic. He sees Lewis Hamilton as a person who is not only physically tough, but also has extraordinary mental resilience and emotional intelligence. If there is one person who can go through this and come out on top, it is Lewis, Vettel said. There is no doubt in my mind. He has the experience, the ability, and the intelligence to adapt quickly. And most importantly, he has the desire to keep winning. With the support of a big name like Vettel, hope remains. Although Hamilton's path with Ferrari is not easy, the confidence of those who have walked a similar path is proof that behind the storm of transition, there is a glimmer of light at the end. The 2025 season has not been entirely kind to Lewis Hamilton. Despite his great name as a 7-time world champion, the reality on the track is not as easy as imagined. The British legend is currently 7th in the Provisional Drivers' Championship standings, 2 positions and 12 points behind his teammate Charles Leclerc, who is still leading the Ferrari charge. Hamilton had shown glimpses of past glory by winning the sprint race in Shanghai and finishing on the podium in the sprint race in Miami. However, when it came time to prove himself in a full race and the more crucial qualifying session, his performance did not seem to be fully in tune with the characteristics of the Ferrari SF25 car. Inconsistency, adaptation problems, and strategies that did not always run smoothly meant that the results were not as expected. In fact, Hamilton's arrival in Maranello was not just a marketing maneuver or a nostalgia event. Ferrari recruited him with a big ambition, to regain the World Championship crown that had been out of their hands since 2007, when Kimi Räikkönen gave the Scuderia its last title. That hope has now turned into mounting pressure from all sides, from the international media, who continue to compare the performances of Hamilton and Leclerc, to the tifosi, who demand immediate results from their star duo. Behind the walls of Ferrari headquarters, the atmosphere is beginning to feel tense. Engineers are working non-stop to find the ideal car balance for Hamilton's racing style, while team officials are weighing expectations and realities that are not yet fully aligned. The patience of the public and the team's inner circle will not last forever. The clock is always ticking in Formula One, and the pressure to win is never relenting. Lewis Hamilton is at a crossroads. At 40, he is no longer just an icon or a living legend. He is also a driver who must prove that he can still adapt, develop and win under pressure and in a completely new system. Damon Hill's warning is not just a criticism. It is a call to let go of the past and truly become part of Ferrari. If Hamilton can shake off his old habits and understand the Italian machine with all its quirks and imperfections, there is no reason why he cannot stand on the top step of the podium again. The big question now is, what is the biggest challenge Hamilton will face in his adaptation to Ferrari? Let us know in the comments.